Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would ask that you give Mr. Carnevale an opportunity to address the Water Department request under Article number 9, which is update the water master plan and replacement vehicles for the Water Department.
Okay.
Hold that thought.
Well, that was quick. Is it rewinding?
It's
Just
really
a
well.
little bit. I don't want to get confused with the other people. It's probably the same. Thank you.
I think she's all set. Good.
The two items, I guess.
Good. Yes, the first one is the update of the water master plan, $97,000.
I brought Paul Brinkman. He's our project manager for Red Fierce Engineers, the company we selected. That we selected to do our water and sewer work. I'll let him address that. Why we're doing it, why we recommend it.
I produced this handout. I know your package wouldn't necessarily have it in it, but speak to some of the issues.
Give her one too in case she needs it.
I know it's been about 20 years since you've done a water master plan, and right now there's a lot of things going on in the town with regards to, I know I've talked to a couple of you gentlemen about the water, the wastewater, and the stormwater, and how there's a strong linkage between all that work. And it's important now to draw the water stuff in, to understand what your system is, where it is today. So that's really one of the keys is what you have in the ground, what are the needs in that system? You know, what pipe needs to be repaired, what tanks need to be repaired, are there costs to the wells to keep them going? Or is keeping the wells going the right way to go? One of the options on the table that is being looked at now is, should we get MWRA water to offset, you know, either the wells and or maybe some Andover water just because of the cost consideration. So a water master plan allows you to build all of that information together and have a good understanding of what your needs are today and down the road, what those costs are. And that way you can make better decisions about the future of all the facilities, the wastewater, the stormwater. Look at them all together so you know what the costs are of each program. You're not picking on a tree and coming up, okay, I need, you know, $10 million over 20 years for this program, and then all of a sudden someone drops another plan on your desk and says, all right, I need another $5 million for this, and I need $100 million. You know, it can be mind-boggling not to have that information when you're making much larger decisions, especially given the wastewater program. Some of the key benefits I see able to extract some of the information out of the water plan and use that when the wastewater plan is being developed a little further. I know you've gone through the CWP process, and that came up with an idea of, you know, the in-town solution. We're actually looking at some other solutions that may present much better cost benefit, but you need to understand the water side of things in order to have them both together, and that's why it's really important to go through that right now. Trying to think of some of the other issues. I know it's late, and I don't know if you have any specific questions regarding regarding some of the work that's proposed.
What do you think the estimated delivery date to finish the plan?
It really depends on how quick we get information back and the feedback loop. There's not it's not a tremendous amount of work. I mean, I know $100,000 sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. There's a lot of parallel information tracks that can go forward. We could be done in as short as 6 months, or it could take a year if that, you know, to go through that process. We've incorporated a lot of time to interact with the Board of Selectmen and the Water Resources Board, right? Water Commission, sorry, the Water Commission, to make sure that there's buy-in as we're going forward with the ideas that are going into place.
Excuse me, when you say that there are buy-ins to it, we haven't had enough water discussion as a board as to what we're buying into or not buying into. I think what I need is some more information as to the options, the costs associated with those, and then and I know the Water Commission's working on it in far more detail than we are collectively. But so I don't. I just want to be sure that we're not limiting.
No.
We're
actually ready to do presentations to the entire about the wastewater plan for the schools and things like he's talking about. I've talked to Greg, and just so busy in the budget cycle, we just haven't thought it's appropriate to bring. But we're ready to head forward with the presentation we did for Mike, and someone else is at Bob, you're at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and we had a separate meeting for Mike. So we briefed Chamber of Commerce on these things. So we're ready to brief the entire water, wastewater, stormwater, what we're doing, what's happening when, and they've done some extensive work on is it possible to use the school wastewater plant to benefit other town facilities? And Mike tossed out something as, what about get some commercial facilities in there to help defray the cost of running the thing? So we're looking at that as well. So we have those two projects, reports done, ready to present. It's just, you've had so much stuff on your plates, we didn't think it was appropriate to bring it forward. Probably next month or so we probably would.
Dick, I'm just a little confused here. We've done some work on the wastewater. We've got communications going on with the school building committee, I think, associated with what we can do there. This is separate, focused on water.
Correct.
That's what you're proposing.
Right.
And this is to deal with the options that we've begun to look at for supplies of additional supplies of water in town.
Well, both.
Above and beyond, and in addition to, I should say, not above and beyond, our own current water system.
Correct. As the alternate wastewater plan, rather than having the sewage plant in town, is to take the sewage out of the Ipswich Basin. To make that work from a permitting standpoint, you need to bring water in. That led to the MWRA concept. Mm-hmm. And then we had the 2010 water supply issue that made it even attractive from a standalone project for the water side. So work with MWRA. In fact, I ran into the town engineer for Reading at Market Basket on Sunday. We were talking about it. So yes, it is tied to it, but it's a separate project.
So when the study's complete, what do I have?
You'll understand. You'll have decided or have a decision process either to stay with the status quo and know what the costs are to do that, or is there a better plan to do that, which could include MWRA water. But you'll know what you need to do to implement that, because it's not simply taking a pipe and connecting it across the town line. There's a lot more that goes to that.
Let me just back up a little. It's going to inventory water assets. It's going to assess their condition. It's going to make an assessment of how long is this going to last. The Central Street wells are in very tough shape. We have some money to do with it. But the question is, if MWRA might happen in, say, 7 years, should we put money into an infrastructure piece that we're going to essentially mothball? So it's going to give us our snapshot right now, and we have ongoing maintenance things we can't ignore, but our thought process that we can get out of the water treatment business. So that's savings in chemicals, electricity, power, and labor. So it's going to look at all our current situation, our alternate situation, and give me some advice so I can advise Greg and your gentleman about what should we spend money on in the water system. What should we just let go? And what should we put money into?
We're basically collecting enough information so that based on looking out to the future in terms of the growth of the town, in terms of the existing infrastructure that we have and the problems associated with it, the risks that we're going to take going one way or another.
The risks of doing nothing
cost
versus
estimates, all part of this.
Yep. There will be a hydraulic model that will look at how the system operates under different conditions. Are the pipes big enough to get the water all around? Do they meet the fire flows in certain corners of the town? And do you need to do infrastructure upgrades for that? It's looking at all different factors, blending them all together so that you have a future look at what the needs are given whatever option it is. Is it MWRA? Is it MWRA Andover? Is it the wells? Different combinations, and knowing what the best cost will align with.
And for the cost for this, just put in perspective, the comprehensive wastewater management plan over 10 years cost almost $600,000. The stormwater management plan done cost about $450,000. So from a dollar, it's quite modest compared to the other ones. And I've actually checked with other communities, and of this kind of scope, it's in the $125,000 to $75,000 range. So I've double checked the prices as well.
Does this all link with the other
Yes.
reports? And
They're kind of like, think of them as parallel. Think of it as a house with 3 posts holding it up. To make this work, we're essentially coming up with what they call an integrated water resource plan. So rather than just independently doing 3 of them, we're doing them and then making them dovetail. So they complement each other, as opposed to just being independent documents that have no meaning.
So
Give an
this is gonna
example
pull
of.
the other two together.
Give an example. If we want to take the sewage out of the Ipswich River Basin, I have another consultant looking at all the paved areas in town, including the new high school, and what can we do to capture that water, put it back in the ground. We get credit for that, because that stays in the basin. Biggest parking lot we have is Walmart. Next biggest, I think, is the high school. But to take that water that currently runs off, it's cheap to do. It gets it back in the ground. It helps us get permitting. So by doing that, it actually helps us on the wastewater side. So there's things that you wouldn't think, but they kind of link together. It's something simple as that. The town of Sharon did that, and they got justification to take the water out of the ground. So the state has bought off on this concept.
well, okay. Getting to this is not your specific issue, but it is a decision that we would have to make as, I can't see us borrowing for this.
No, we just.
And I don't know whether, I mean, right now, to me, this kind of thing fits into the MTBE fund, things like that. Now, I know we took money out for other purposes, and we're building up the water, retained water earnings to put back in that fund, but I wouldn't have any problem funding that study out of one of those funds. I don't know how you feel about that, Steve. It would seem to me to be appropriate, and I would not borrow and have the water department, the enterprise fund paying for it. But we have available funds for those kinds of purposes.
Yes, sir.
The proposal was from where?
I left it open in terms of what the source of funds would be, but there's $371,321 in the water infrastructure fund.
That's part of the water reserve.
That's the
Enterprise.
MTEB money.
Okay.
And by the way, it would be good to also know what is left in the, it's got nothing to do with this thing, but the sewer money that we got part of River,
I think it's $372,000 in that range.
it's not spent yet.
Correct. The last money spent on that was for the economic analysis.
Yeah.
But which fund was this?
The Berry money.
$750,000 from the Berry.
Okay. I concur with you, Mr. Chairman. Those other funds, MTP fund, even the Stickney fund, which have been somewhat protected by over the years, this would be appropriate use of those funds.
We haven't touched the Stickney
I
fund.
know since that.
So Greg, in the
Actually,
process
borrowed
of,
some and you pay it back.
Balance in the sticky?
132,744.
yeah, I would use the MTBE fund. But I think you have to make sure that in the warrant here, that it specifies or other sources rather than just water revenue or borrow.
I've already made a pencil change to it.
Any other questions for Dick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Chair? Yeah. Do you know offhand the revenue on the water as of today?
244,000 is the
I'm sorry?
estimated. 244,000 is the estimated closing balance.
Okay, and we have what, 2 months to go? May and June?
That's
Well, it's three months.
3 months to go.
3 months.
3 months to go. Okay.
Again, as we're aware of, we had rain today. We're 50% less in precipitation than we should be. We got according to the Channel 7, 5.77 inches short. I'm anticipating we're going to have a water shortage. I'm anticipating a water bans of working, presenting something to the Water Commission Thursday night. Some recommended phased approach, how to do it a little different, how we did it before.
Well, you have a bylaw, I think, associated with.
We changed the bylaw 2 years ago based on it was not flexible enough to let us do the various things we needed to do.
Right.
So we changed it to say that the selectmen can approve rules and regulations. And I'm drafting that rules and regulations for your review and approval. In the fall of 2010 town meeting, we did that.